Okay, so today we're interviewing Julio, who now works for U.S. Soccer. So what are your initial thoughts, feelings, reactions about getting this opportunity to work for the U.S. National Team?
My initial thoughts are basically, it's very positive. I've always dreamed of working for a massive organization such as the national team, even if it was in Brazil or in the U.S. I've always dreamed of working for that type of organization. But coming in, it has surprised me a lot. They treat everything as professional as it can be. So overall, it was very positive. I love the way that they treat the players, how they try to include as many people as they can. I love how they work on finding the best players and basically make them become the best players in the world. So it's just the whole work that they put in behind the scenes is amazing.
And since you are a player, you know, you've played in Brazil, you came here to the States, you played in JUCO in college, you played NCAA, then you went into the professional route of USL2, NPSL, UPSL. How does working for the organization differ from becoming a player? How has it changed the way you see the game from being inside the lines to now being outside the lines?
It is very different, but because when I'm a player and the game is basically a team game, it helps for you to get used to working as a team, realizing that there is different jobs that different people have to do, but basically we rely on each other for the bigger picture. So being a player at first was amazing. I understood all of those tasks, and then I was able to bring it from being a player into a staff member, those same ideas of I have a task to complete and basically I have to deliver it. So it was what I brought from being a player and then into being a staff member. But yeah, it has been awesome ever since I started, but I learned a lot from being a player into becoming a staff member.
And how has it like helped you see the game differently?
It's definitely helped a lot on making me realize how much work is put in behind from the staff. When you're playing, you're just focusing on how good you can do and like focusing so much in yourself, but you don't realize how many hours staff members have put on to make sure that the players don't have to worry about anything else but playing. So yeah, seeing from the other side it has been like something that's wow. We because I'm one of them now. I've realized how much work people put in behind, like I say, to make sure that the players don't have to worry about anything else but to perform. So yeah.
And what have you noticed about from going to the camps that you've been to? Like, what are some key things that have stood out to you from these athletes that you've been going and working at the camps with?
Oh, definitely. They're the best ones in the country. We can definitely see that the work that the talent ID people put on to make sure that they get the best players in the country, that everybody that's in there is hungry to do their best and to get their spot, and they know how hard it is to get to that point, and they know that how hard it is to continue performing at that high level. But also we realize that a lot of those players, they're there and they're enjoying. They love the game. They're not just there like, that's a job, I need to perform, like I cannot make any mistakes. Like, we were in camps where most of the kids, they were just having fun, you know, and you'd never think they would be like that. You'd think that everybody would be just focused on work, but no, they were having fun and they were enjoying. And when we came in to play, to perform, they could switch that and actually perform and do well.
And from looking at the recruiting side of things, like how important is it for the players and for the coaches that they take their recruiting seriously, like they're reaching out to coaches and their highlight video and all the things that go into the athletes behind the scenes for getting to the next level?
Well, they definitely do need to be seen. That's something that you're not going to be seen if you don't put yourself out there. So it is really important that players are not only performing and doing well, but also doing well with their marketing side, that they are actually putting themselves out there so that people can see, and that way they can create more opportunities for themselves. We know that there's a lot of players, there's a lot of games that go on. There's only so many people that can see them. So having your video online where you can reach out to somebody can open up opportunities. So it's very important for you to basically have something online so that you can open up more doors for you and more opportunities for you to play in the next level.
Mm-hmm. And what is like, usually we get questions from parents a lot that are like, how can I get there? So to the athletes that want to get to those talent ID camps and they want to get into that U.S. soccer arena, what is advice you would give to those kids that are hungry, that are trying to get there?
They do need to be working as much as they can. We're very lucky to work with one of the best players there is. I mean, his name is Steven Ireland, and that was something that he said that stick out a lot. It was the you need to be doing as much as you can do. I mean, when you're that young, you can give out as much as you can, and you hardly will get hurt. So it's really important for you to try to soak in as much as you can. You can practice as much as you can and try to improve as much, because if you do that, your chances of improving will be higher, and then you basically just work as a domino effect. So if you work a lot, if you put in a lot of hours, eventually you'll be able to perform, and by performing, that means you're gonna open up more opportunities to play at a higher level. So yeah.
What surprised you the most when you got in with the staff and started your first camp? What was like something that you didn't expect now that you work for the staff that you had maybe unknowingly thought of before? So like now that you work with them, like what stood out to you that you didn't expect?
I think that something that always was that stick out the most was how many people they watch and they scout and they see just in general. If you think about, the country is massive and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of games over the weekends, and on top of that, watching all these people, you need to and that goes back to the people that do the scouting for the national team, and that is a lot of games to watch, a lot of conversations to have, a lot of meetings to do, in order for you to pick out 20 to 25 players for each age to do a camp. So again, they are doing an awesome job. They're making sure that they're getting the best players that there is, but the job doesn't stop right there. So besides scouting all these players before they come into camp, during camp, they are always watching, see every single thing that they do inside and outside the field. And then from there, we're basically building a profile where we'll see if the player is good enough to continue being called up to play. So it's not as simple as people think it is, that you just play one good game and you might have an opportunity to play with the national team. It is, there's a lot of hours, a lot of work that people put in behind to make sure that they get the best in the country.
Mm-hmm. And something I didn't understand that I had asked you, because I have no idea how the U.S. like youth works, is like, do athletes just go to one camp and then they're good, or is there multiple levels? Like how does it even work?
Oh, there's a lot of talent IDs, and players have to be performing well at every single talent ID that they do. So there's a lot of talent ID camps that you have to go to before being called up to an actual camp. And besides the camp, of course, there's tournaments that they play for each age. So there's a lot that goes into just being called up. You need to be performing, not just for your club, but at every single talent ID that you're called up, and at every camp that you're called up, and every tournament that you go to. So yeah, there's a lot. It's not just, like I say, it's not just you go to one good game and perform well and you have a chance to be called up. There's a lot.
There's a lot. Oh, the next one was coming from Brazil, and since you played, youth academies in Brazil for sport, and who's the other one you played for? Nautico?
Yeah.
So for sport and Nautico and other youth clubs in Brazil, how does the U.S. compare to the clubs that you've done internationally?
It was like do or die, way more do or die than here. Like I think that in Brazil it was like if you didn't make it, you were basically done. And in here in the U.S. you have so many opportunities if you're not able to make it to the professional level. I just felt that in Brazil, if you didn't make it, that was it. You cannot go to college to play. You can't, there's no other route to make it into the professional level if you don't do it the way that you're supposed to, which is if you don't make it when you're 15 or 16, you don't get a professional contract. It's very hard for you to be able to get a contract later on when you're in here in the U.S. that we know a lot of people that get a professional contract after college when they're 22, 23. So I think that's the difference is in Brazil it is way more like if you don't make it, you
so you can't go back later to try to try out again. It's
very hard for you to be able to, you can always go back to a different team and try to make it, but let's say that at a certain age of 15, 16, you're able to see who is going to make it and who is not going to make it. So I feel like here in the US it's so much about, it's a sport, it's about inclusion. Of course there's so many levels, right? And at the top higher level it probably is very much about you gotta make it, but because there's so many clubs and there's so many levels to it, it becomes a little more about inclusion. But outside of here it's so much about if you can make it, you gotta go do something else. If you can make it until that age, you're basically done.
And that's why all the internationals come here to play
college. Yes, because I mean they think they still have a chance to play professionally because you can become a professional later on here in the US. So, and plus the level is a bit, it's not as high as it is outside of the US as it is in Europe and South America. So they do believe there's an opportunity to make it. But also not a lot of people think that it's actually harder for you to become a professional in a different country that you're not from. So in a country like in the US, there's only so many international spots in a team. So if you're international, it becomes even harder for you to get a professional contract in here than if it is in your actual domestic country. In my case, in Brazil, we can have as many Brazilians as we can in our roster. But if I'm a Brazilian in the US, I think it's 7 or 8, or maybe it depends if the club, of course, changes international spots at MLS. They can do that. They can offer money for an international spot, but there's only so many international spots available for a club. Now, if you're an American and you're trying to play in the US, of course, that's probably the easiest way for you instead of going to a different country. But yeah.
What does representing the US soccer crest mean to you personally?
It means a lot. It is a country that I've been living here for 10 years, and it has it helped me and my family a lot. So it means a lot to be able to kind of give back in the other sense. But it also means that not just me, but Stafford Productions in general have been doing an awesome job, and it has been recognized in a national level. That it got to the point that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just the work that I was doing, but the work that Stafford Productions have been doing to be able to bring us into the national team level, to help players develop, to help just soccer in this country to grow so much, but also to bring it to that professional level that's the best that there is in this country. So it means a lot personally for me to just be able to work with the best people that there is in the country.
How has this experience and this new role for you reshaped your long-term soccer goals?
It has given me a bit more of appreciation for the game and seeing how professional this level is. Of course, I did play so many levels, but I never got a chance to play at a national team level. So it gave me a different appreciation for the game, to the point that it was so much, like, there was so much profession that you could get to. But then when it comes to a national team level, it's way more than that, you know. And the people that you get to work with, it's literally the best ones that there are in the country. So it's just an awesome experience to just be working with the best that there is, basically.
What makes the environment of U.S. soccer and the talent IDs and everything so different from the club level?
I mean, it's different because you're working with the best players in the country, so you can see how they act, how professional they can be, even at a young age. I did work with a lot of under 15s, and you would think that it would be all about just playing around and stuff like that. Of course they did. It's not like they didn't, because they're kids, you know. But you could see at that age that was kids already taking care of their body. That was kids already like watching a lot of their practices that were filmed, having a lot of conversation, and I'm talking about like adult conversations with their coaches, kids that already understood what type of work they were going to pursue going forward, which is of course to play professionally. So you can see that from a club level. I mean, I could compare that to when I used to play in Brazil at that same age. You saw that it was so much about being a professional at that young age, than just being a kid and then just having fun. That's what I'm saying about when you're in a club team. It's probably, of course, there is like a few that might treat that very professionally, but you don't see like a whole group being on that same level of focus on performing, on doing well, on taking care of their body. And of course, as we work with older ages, we see that more and more, you know. We see that players just come out of their room literally to take care of their body and go back and rest, or get out, go to practice, do extra, and then go back to the room and rest, or come out and do take care. You know, you got my point.
So you would say like there's not a whole lot of like ego at these talent IDs. Kids are more like humble and they know exactly what's expected of them because they expect it of themselves.
Yes, it's, I mean, not so much about ego, about like competition. Of course that will be, because they're there to compete, and they'll be doing their best in order to get their spot. But there isn't so much of ego about how selfless they are, you know, how they most of those kids are. I mean, I think I said that too much in this conversation, but they're the best there are in the country, so they will be not just performing well, but they'll be treating people well, they'll be respectful. So yeah, not so much about how a club looks like, but yeah, it's just a different level.
How has this job challenged you in ways that you didn't expect?
It's a non-stop work, you know. When we're in camp, we have a lot of deadlines, I would say. It's not like we are in a whole long season that's like 3-4 months long, or 6 or a year long. It's very short. We have short amount of time together with the players, from the day that they come and arrive in the hotel to the day that they leave. It's not an easy job, you know. It's, you wake up in the morning, you prep, you go to training, you come back, you prep more stuff, you have a lot of meetings, you have meetings with players, meeting with coaches. It's a non-stop work, so I think it has challenged me to make sure that I was at the top of my game. It reminded me a lot when I used to play, when there was a lot of meetings to go to, there was a lot of game to study, you know. So it's not, you don't think, when you're a player, you think that you're the one doing all the work, but when you're a staff member and you see as a player from the outside, there's a lot of work that the staff people put into. So yeah, it has challenged me a lot to understand that there's a lot of work for you to put on to make sure that the players are not worried about anything else but to just perform.
Mm-hmm. And with all this new experience and all these new trainings you've taken and the camps that you've gone to, how has this influenced you to help the next generation and those younger players, to mentor them to try to reach any goal that they have, whether it be the U.S. National Team or just college or semi-pro?
It has helped a lot because I got to work with the best people that there was, so I get to see how they do. So when I am trying to help a player, I basically mirror what those players are doing. Those experiences that I'm having in a camp, I can literally see how those players are acting, how they're doing inside of the field and outside the field. So overall, it's just, I learned so much from those players, what they're basically doing, and I'm trying to help those players that are trying, the other players that are trying to get to the next level the same way. So it's just mirror, a lot of mirroring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we're basically doing.
What excites you the most about where you see U.S. soccer heading in the next couple years?
Oh, I told you so many times that I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. wins a World Cup, and there's only.
So we're gonna beat Brazil?
No, there's so many.
You're turning against the homeland?
No, there's at least 4 times. There's at least 20 years for the U.S. to get to how many World Cups Brazil has, but I wouldn't be surprised that in a few years the U.S. wins its first World Cup. Of course, there's so much work to put on, but I think that the people that they're bringing in professionally with the new headquarters that they're doing in south of Atlanta, it's all like showing that they're treating this game a little more professional, that they know that there's potential for growth with their players. I mean, if you think about, the U.S. is one of the only countries that there's so many nationalities in it, mm-hmm. Which means you're basically like making the U.S. like a big melting pot of different nationalities. So there's no better recipe than that, you know, mm-hmm. to make something successful. It's basically a country that has a lot of other countries inside of it. So I do believe that, honestly, in a few years, there's good things coming for soccer in general in the U.S.
Yeah, once we get rid of those Brazilians, Neymar retired, Lamine Yamal retired. He's not Brazilian, but whatever. What has been the most rewarding moment so far since you've started with U.S. soccer?
I think the most rewarding moment was honestly to be called to work. You know, it meant a lot for me and for my team, Stafford Productions, that we were doing a good work, that we were being recognized by a national team. And of course, that was just one of the moments, like getting into camp and meeting all these people, all those players have been very rewarding. Mm-hmm. But I would say overall, it was the first call up and be like, hey, can you come work with us? So that first was something that was like very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you didn't get to go for the player side, but at least you got the staff side.
At least I got the staff side, but can't complain. I mean,
you didn't run out there on the field and play with them?
No. Couldn't.
You would have.
I would have.